Now, if you want a good handstand, be able to kick into this position, show control, move around in the position, go between different shapes, you want to work on these foundations. These are the things that you need to be thinking about in terms of your handstand practice. First of all, we need to have a kick up. You need to be able to kick up to a handstand. That needs to be at the wall to start with. We need shoulders directly on top of the hands. We need a very strong focal point. We need to kick on top, ideally to freestanding, but if you need to, use the wall. If you can't do that, we're going to build that slowly, but look at the base. It's staying the same every time as I kick up and down on top of it. Once we've got that base, we need to learn how to balance. Now, to balance, we need a certain amount of conditioning, basically be able to hold on top of our hands for time. So 30 to 60 seconds in that position. And normally we would train that in a chest to wall position like so. But when you're first starting, this might be too hard. You might need to be more like this, or even have your feet on a chair or a box, but basically creating a strong position that you can hold for time, building up to that magic 30 to 60 seconds and hold a conversation while you're doing it. We need then to start working our balance window. Now, our balance window is taking us between our overbalance and our underbalance. How much we can go this way and how much we can go this way is our window of balance. Now, we practice that on the wall. So we kick up, we squeeze the legs together, point the toes, reach tall, pull from the wall, pushing through the fingers, making the body one segment and going back again. Learn to do that for repetitions and then for holds. That's called the heel pull, super important, and that's the overbalance. We need exactly the same for the other side of the handstand, the underbalance, and the way we do that is chest to wall. We build the control and confidence to do this. Pull with the shoulders, take the hips with you to a handstand and back again, first for repetitions and then for holds. This one's going to take a little bit of time to build the confidence to do it because you might feel like you're going to backsplat. Normally someone needs a spotter or some workaround drills to allow you to build the confidence and control to do it. But that's going to give you the underbalance control. Now put those two together, you're going to start to build your straight freestanding handstand. So the ability to kick up into this position, which is great. This is our straight handstand. We can move between our underbalance and our overbalance. That's that window. We can kick and start to think about things like jump to handstand. So other entries. So a jump is when we have hands, shoulders, focal point. We jump our legs, our hips on top. We can show control in the balance, and then we can do whatever we want to do in the handstand. We've just used the jump entry. Now at some point we need to also bring in the tuck handstand and the straddle handstand. Now, why are these important? Number one, mobility. The tuck is an amazing exercise to work overhead mobility. If you've ever tried to do an overhead squat, you know how hard it is. Think of the tuck handstand to be the overhead squat in a handstand. It's super hard to open the shoulders and upper back in this position, and we can start to condition that position in chest to wall positions. And if we are going to do the chest wall position, we want to focus on this position when the knee is at 90 degrees or the hip is at 90 degrees and the thigh, the upper leg, is parallel with the floor, because that's the hardest point because it pushes the hip away. You want to hold this for time or do reps in and out of this position, making sure the shoulder is nice and open and not closed. If it gets easier, move the shoulder closer to the wall. So that's the conditioning of the tuck position. Exactly the same for the straddle. It's slightly easier for most people because there's a little bit more of an escape, but the straddle position is here. Now the straddle is super important because if you want to work towards skills like press handstand, you pass through the straddle to get there. That's the easiest way to learn it. So it's how you enter and exit the slow controlled entries to handstand. So if you can do a tuck and if you can do a straddle and you can move between them, you can do majority of the handstand and calisthenics skills in terms of handstand balance. So if we number that, we need to think about our entries, number one. Number two, we need to think about our conditioning. Number three, we need to think about our balance. And number four, we need to think about our shapes. Only 4 things to think about. However, there's mobility, there's the specific drills, whether you're using the wall, the freestanding, and how you transition between them. And it's using the right ones at the right time for you. So it can be a little bit tricky. But the main thing is consistency. I'd highly recommend that you're training 4 to 6 times per week on something to do with your handstand. It sounds a lot, but that's the best way to learn how to balance on our hands. It's how we learn how to balance on our feet. We didn't just do it once a week, we've done it every day. And that's the quickest way to learn how to handstand. I've got a course that takes you from the complete beginner level, learning to kick up, all the way through to a freestanding handstand in the middle of the room, learning how to do all the shapes, and then even moving on to things like one-arm handstands. You can take a picture of this QR code or links are down in the description. Reach out if you have any questions and I'll speak to you guys in the next one.